my motivation was back on track, especially after the 3 days, so I was very happy. And well, it shows in the game. This is my favorite game. I hope you will enjoy it. So e4, c5. She plays knight c6, bishop b5, knight d4, knight f3, e6, castles makes sense, a6, and I went back to d3, and now probably you look at me like, what? Bishop d3? The thing is, there is no other place for my bishop. I can't go to c4 because then b5 will come with tempo, right? I can go back and retire on e2, but what is it really doing over there? And then you could say, okay, but what is it doing on d3? The idea is that this bishop is not going to develop through that diagonal, but I will play b3 and then bishop b2, right? So that's the idea. And then this bishop will actually make a lot of sense because these two bishops will be shooting at the opponent's king's position. And then we can just pew, 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 pew and checkmate. Now she went back to c6. My bishop looks funny there, but she also wasted time, right, with these pawn moves over there. Okay, so until now it was still theory b3, like I promised, d6, bishop b2, and she said, you want to develop your bishop over there? No. What about no? Not allowing my bishop to be active, and also my d3 bishop looks weird. Played rook e1. Again, it might seem like it makes no sense, because why would we put the rook there? The e4 doesn't need defense, the e file is close, so why move it? But the idea is black's king is still in the middle, so my rook being on the e file makes sense because, you know, these two pawns can disappear anytime. Maybe I can make them disappear by playing c3, d4, but that will take some time, obviously, right? Because there are two minor pieces in front of the pawns, but that's the idea, to bomb the center and open the files for my bishops because they want to be lively. She played bishop g4. I said, come on, she wants to play knight d4, a common way to exploit the pin, right? But I said no, I said h3, come on, get out of my face with this bishop. And she says, you know what? h5. And I was like, oh boy, here we go, here we go. So the ones who don't know this plan yet, it's an interesting strategy, taking here with the pawn. Now pawn takes, and once this knight moves away, we will end up in a very bad place right now because she will go back and you say, haha, we win the pawn. But no, you get checkmated. Obviously, what does the engine say? Take it, my friend, no problem, take on g4, everything is under control, you can take it, just stay calm, there is no need to worry because your opponent will take, but then you don't move the knight, don't worry, you just play knight d5 and when she captures, you recapture, and when this happens, no problem, you just play g3 and everything is under control and you are even better. Guess what? Not on this world I would do this. Obviously crossed my mind for one brief moment, but as fast as it came, it left just as fast. So instead I said, okay, this is still a problem, this knight d4 is still a problem, so I played knight d5. In case she does this, then I can capture with the bishop, since my bishop is not doing too much. But I said, okay, this h5 comes with a price. Okay, we do fancy stuff here, but where will the king go? Because once the king castles there, this bishop won't be safe anymore, so this bishop will have to leave. But when she castles, this h5 will be weak. If you say, okay, but black will castle long, well, I don't think so. I don't think that's a great idea either, because black is full of holes on that side of the board. So bishop e6, she went back immediately. Here I considered bishop f1 with the idea c3 and d4 later, but I said, okay, on chess mode I also saw c3 and then bishop c2 and then d4, so the bishop keeps being on that diagonal. And I said, you know what? I'm not sure yet where this bishop should go. f1, c2, but c3 is definitely something I want to. So let's play it now. Of course, engine says, what the heck are you doing even? Because engine says, okay, now g5, and black starts attacking like crazy. She played f5, and at that point I was like, okay, this must be super suspicious. Why f5? I finished the development. I castled, my pieces are more or less out. everything is closed. That's my only problem. And she helps me open up things here. And her king is still in the middle. These guys are still sleeping. I will be honest with you, I thought, okay, I can't take, right? Because bishop takes. So that will be very sad. But if I don't take, then she will play f4, potentially. And then play g5, g4, and start attacking on the king side. So I said, okay, I have to do something. There is only one move I considered, which is knight g5. Again, the idea is knight g5, queen takes, then knight c7 check, and I win an exchange. But there is a better move here. I will give you some time to find it. It's a crazy hard move, I think. It makes a lot of sense once you see it. It becomes obvious once you see it. But finding this in a real game, knight f4, double exclamation mark. Pawn can't take because he takes f5. And that is our pin. That's why I said that these pawns can easily disappear, right? And we get back the bishop, and black will be in a terrible position. But what can black do? Defend the bishop? Well, then I can even just play knight g5 and keep the knight there. Now, if the bishop moves away, I just take on f5. I won an extra pawn and I have 2 juicy squares for my horsey. And black still can't capture. You see, so never underestimate a rook like this. If a rook is on the same file as someone's king, then that king should get out as fast as they can. I didn't find it. I thought my only move is knight g5, which is still an interesting move, but it's a miss. Idea is that queen takes. I calculated this a little bit. Check, king d7, now we take this. Well, she soon said, okay, she's not getting into this. She played quite fast, so I don't think she really considered taking for too long. After this, I think this convinced her not to take. So she captured here. I captured, and I thought this would still be fine because I'm threatening the knight, right? So she can take this, I will take, and I am a pawn down. But the position is more open. The king is still in the middle, and black still needs some problems to finish, right? So this is the position where we got into. But here I was thinking, okay, I'm a pawn down. I have to play fast because my opponent has a temporary weakness. When they have temporary weaknesses, you have to play faster. I mean, I'm not talking about the time on the clock that's now you have to blitz out everything. That's not what I mean by playing fast. By fast, I mean playing more dynamic, playing more forcing moves, trying to take advantage of the temporary weakness as soon as you can. Because if you don't, then the temporary weakness will be like, shh, and you can just say bye from far away. So I said, okay, I have b4, bringing my queen out and attacking c6. I also thought about f3, queen f3. That was one of my candidate moves. And I also thought about f4. So b4, the idea is to bring the queen here and attack from that side, attack the c6, because there is not a great defense over there, right? Most pieces are on the other side of the board. I also thought about queen f3, but I thought there would be e4, and you could say, haha, now is the time to capture, boom, boom, queen takes, and now that's it. But guess what? King d7, black says, bruhu, you give this check, and king goes to c7, and black looks at you and says, check me. And you say, okay, check, haha, and then black says, check me again. And I also thought about f4. Now you can say, what are you even doing? That's just a pawn hanging for free. Queen takes. And now what? Yeah, but now I thought I could play rook f1. And taking on f5, opening the f file, and asking the king some important questions. Where are you going to castle, dear king? Long? Are you sure? Short? I don't think so. I decided to go with f4. This is the move I like the most. f4, queen takes, rook f1. Queen went back to h6. So I took bishop takes f5. She played knight f6, which makes a lot of sense because, you know, she wants to close the f file so she can castle. Knight e7 would have been better, but it's very counterproductive. Knight is in front of the bishop, and I don't see where black is castling. But okay, let's keep in mind black is already there. So knight f6. I said, okay, at this point, I want to play d4, bombing the center. Here I was calculating a lot. You can see I took 20 minutes. d4 looks like a normal move, right? I mean, why calculate here 20 minutes? And probably you are right. But I just couldn't find what the heck to do after e4. Because if I take here, you could say black can even play d5 at some point and just close the things that way. And I was just calculating again, b4 was an idea. And then I was like, this queen is weird, isn't it? The bishop is on this diagonal, controlling a lot of squares, and this queen is out of place. Oopsie doopsie, if we have something here, oopsie, then black's only move would be g5. I played d4. Engine obviously says bishop c1 is the move. Very interesting move, right? And then d4 with the discovery. But because the engine's idea is that if there is d4, then there is this check first, which is still okay. But engine doesn't like that, and the engine wanted to prevent that from happening. She played e4. I played bishop c1. She played g5. Of course, she could have played e3 too, but it doesn't lead anywhere. Play queen d3, rook e1, and this will be mine. She played g5. And again, I thought, okay, something must happen here. But okay, why not play h4, just taking advantage of this pin here? She played knight h7, protecting the g5. So this is still a problem. Now this is even a bigger problem. Now I have access to this king. Suddenly I have my door to the opponent's king. She really wanted to get out of this misery, so she long castled, which is a mistake, yes, of course. But understandable. I mean, this king wants to leave, right? Played queen e2, trying to get in from here. But I want to show you something, chat. I thought she would play king b7. And I had this crazy idea here. But I come in, check. She plays king b6. And here, I thought I would play a4. Threatening a5, checkmate. Now, there is a5. Let's say she defends against this. But now there is mate in 3 moves. Can you find it? Queen b5 check. No pawn has to take, right? There is nothing else. Rook b7 check. King goes to a6. And now a takes b5 checkmate. I really wanted her to play king b7, but she didn't. She played queen g7. Defending on the 7th rank makes sense. I didn't want to capture yet. I mean, there are hundreds of ways to win here. This is like plus 10 at this point. I just took on c6, still threatening queen takes a6, queen a8, queen b7 checkmate. That was the idea. She played king c7, and I captured on a6, again threatening queen b7 checkmate. She played rook b8, and here I was thinking, like, what do we do now? Probably, again, there are hundreds of ways to win, but I thought, okay, just in order to avoid complications, I will win my opponent's queen. Well, queen a7 doesn't work yet, because the bishop is defending the queen. Rook f7, I did fancy stuff, and I got my brilliant move here. Yeah, queen captures, and then queen a7, king captures, queen takes. She captured there. Again, there are hundreds of ways to win this, so I won't say my line is the best or what the engine says. Whatever works. Unless you play queen e7, you know, then whatever should work. I captured on c5, just opening my opponent's position further. I gave queen e8 check, rook there, check, king went away, and now I played bishop f4, just causing more trouble over there. And black is still struggling to develop. She played knight f6, but now I played queen d4. And again, there is pressure on d6. There is pressure here. So here she resigned.